Pol Roger, which is an historic, house, independent family house, still owned by the family or the descendant of the family of Pol Roger, who founded the house in 1849. We have nowadays two members of the fifth generation on board, Hubert de Billy and his sister Evelyn, who is in charge of the vineyards from Pol Roger, which are 92 hectares within the diversity of the Champagne landscapes, enhancing us. Today we are going to test Winston Churchill Cuvée, which is in fact a bit easy. It's easy wine for us to produce because we just take the crème de la crème and we make something out of the crème de la crème. The wine we are the most proud of is a Brut non-vintage, which is a wine, the entry level of the house, and which is probably the most difficult achievement for us every year to be consistent year after year. Anyhow, we are not going to talk too much about Brut non-vintage, because if I start with the Brut non-vintage, we'll still be there tomorrow afternoon. Pol Roger has some easy in Epernay, and has a very special story with Winston Churchill, as Winston Churchill was a big fan of the vintages of Pol Roger. He was a big fan of the predominantly Pinot Noir vintages of Pol Roger. As early as 1908, he was already buying 1895 vintage. He was borrowing the words from Oscar Wilde, saying, in Dutch maybe, Mein Geschmack ist leicht, ich bin zufrieden mit was ist best. In other words, my tastes are simple, I am easily satisfied with the best, and I hope your tastes are simple and you are easily satisfied with the best. He was always picking up the best vintages. So he was a big fan of the vintages of Pol Roger, but he was always satisfied with the best. And the last vintage he did enjoy from Pol Roger was the 47. I'm not telling you that he died because he did enjoy the 47. But he tasted, he loved 1895, 1904, 1914, 1921, 1928, 1934, 1937, 1947. And basically, he became even a bigger fan when he met with Odette Pol Roger in 1945. She was the ambassadress, she was the face of Pol Roger at that time, and he met her at a lunch at the British ambassador residence in Paris. And after that started a very strong friendship, and he was writing to Odette Pol Roger, 44 Avenue de Champagne, the world's most drinkable address, the most drinkable address in the world, Epernay, France, 44 Avenue de Champagne. He did name one of his racing horses, Pol Roger, and he sent a telegram to Odette in '53 when Pol Roger won, and he said, Pol Roger won splendidly today, so there is a little bit of profit on both races, best love, Winston. When he died in '65, Pol Roger decided to put a black edge, a black border, on each label of the vintages shipped to the UK. 10 years as a tribute. 10 years after he died, and after Clementine, the wife of Churchill, died, Pol Roger did ask the Churchill family if they would be pleased with a cuvée named after him. And that was the birth of the cuvée on the vintage 1975, in a good sized bottle. You know, in the wine, it was a Magnum. You know, in the wine trade, we like to say that the Magnum is the right size for two, providing one is not drinking. And we thought it was the right size for a tribute to Sir Winston Churchill. 75, taking grapes coming from vineyards which were existing at the time of Churchill, historic, so Grand Cru, basically. In 1945, there were less than 10,000, I think it was 8,000 hectares planted in Champagne. Today it's 34,000 hectares. So the grapes are always coming from this historic terroir from Côte des Blancs, or from Montagne de Reims predominantly, and Côte des Blancs as far as Chardonnay is concerned. Then we did copycat the style of the 34, 37 and 47, the last three vintages he did like, to reproduce the style of champagne that he would have loved if he was still alive. And that was the beginning of the cuvée, with the launch in 1984, with a wine which was 8 years on the lees, 9 years on the lees, and today with the 2004 vintage, which is the first champagne you have, we have the 15th vintage of the cuvée. So after 75, 79, 80, 82, 85, 86, 88, 1990, 93, 95, 96, 10th vintage, 98, 99, 2000, 2002, 2004. So this is only the 15th vintage of the cuvée. It is not a prestige cuvée. I mean, a lot of people say, oh, what is your prestige cuvée? This is cuvée Sir Winston Churchill. It's not a prestige cuvée, it's a tribute cuvée. When we are asked how many bottles do you produce, I always say not enough. I mean, it's very difficult for us because we try to satisfy as many as people as possible, but it's quite difficult to do. And the only possibility for us to produce more is to have more sourcing in the Grand Cru, which is quite difficult in Champagne. But we are succeeding. In the last few years, we got access to more great grapes in Champagne. So 2004, I will let Andrea talk a little bit about the wine. I let you enjoy the wine, and I get back to you later when I am able to speak in German. Dankeschön.